As some people gleefully meme with Sora and others lament yet another short-form video site, there are yet others who are not surrendering the idea that AI's greatest contributions can be scientific discovery, not in the far-off future, but right here and right now. Welcome back to the AI Daily Brief. Today we are discussing AI and scientific discovery. And of course, at least part of the context has to be the launch of Sora 2. We talked extensively about this in yesterday's episode, but if you had to take just one meme that best summed up the enfranchised critique, let's say, of OpenAI's announcement, not just of the Sora 2 model, but of the Sora app to go with it, it was really a critique of what OpenAI is choosing to spend its time on. One example of this was Rudder Tushar, who said, Sam Altman 2 weeks ago, we need $7 trillion and 10 gigawatts to cure cancer. Sam Altman today, we are launching AI slop videos marketed as personalized ads. Now, there was a lot of that going around, enough that it clearly got under Sam Altman's skin. In fact, he responded to that one saying, I get the vibe here, but we do mostly need the capital for building AI that can do science. And for sure, we are focused on AGI with almost all of our research effort. It is also nice to show people new cool tech products along the way, make them smile, and hopefully make some money given all that compute need. When we launched ChatGPT, there was a lot of who needs this and where is AGI? Reality is nuanced when it comes to optimal trajectories for a company. So let's hold aside Sam's response and whether you think it's legitimate or not. The point is that a lot of people are saying, we were promised AGI and scientific discovery and we got another social media app. It harkens back to the famous Founders Fund manifesto where they wrote, we wanted flying cars, instead we got 140 characters. This sense that there is some deeper value to big, massive machines and inventions and discoveries, as opposed to just social media attention sucks. This question has actually been lurking around the OpenAI space for a lot of 2025. One of the big stories of this year, of course, was Mark Zuckerberg parading around the valley, trying to poach engineers to stock his superintelligence lab. And while a lot of that effort was very successful and a lot of incredibly talented people came over to Meta, there were some who turned down even extremely generous compensation packages. And a lot of the scuttlebutt and buzz around AI circles was that those folks just weren't willing to risk that ultimately what they were going to have to spend all of their brain power and all of Meta's compute on was improving ad click-through rates. Now, one of the things that was interesting about this conversation yesterday as it happened alongside Sora was that we didn't just have to speculate that some number of researchers and top minds weren't going to be interested in that sort of work. We actually had an example of researchers who had left OpenAI and Google and Meta to build something that had a much heavier scientific discovery type of focus. The company was called Periodic Labs. Its goal is to use and build AI that can actually accelerate discovery in fields beyond computer science, such as physics and chemistry. And its announcement was very explicitly positioned as being about AI researchers getting sick of working on consumer AI and moving on to a higher purpose. Indeed, the New York Times article about Periodic Labs starts with one of these stories. They write, this summer, Mark Zuckerberg invited Rishab Agrawal to join the company's new AI lab, offering him millions of dollars in stock and salary. With the new lab, Zuckerberg said he wanted to build superintelligence, a technology that could eclipse the power of the human brain. Though no one knew how to create superintelligence, he urged Dr. Agrawal to make a leap of faith. In a world that is changing fast, Zuckerberg told him, the biggest risk you can take is not taking any risk. But although Dr. Agrawal was already a Meta employee, he turned down the offer to join another company. That company is, of course, Periodic Labs. In discussing Periodic's goals, founder Liam Fetus said, the main objective of AI is not to automate white-collar work. The main objective is to accelerate science. Now, we talk in this show all the time about the difference between efficiency AI and opportunity AI. And this is, of course, in the context of enterprises deploying AI at work. The idea of efficiency AI is thinking about AI simply as a way to do what is currently done, but faster, cheaper, or maybe better, but still doing the same thing. There's nothing wrong with efficiency AI. People should leverage those gains. They're going to become table stakes. But the real opportunity and what will differentiate companies, I have always said and believed, is those who think about it as a new opportunity technology. A technology, in other words, that opens up things that weren't possible before. The founders of Periodic Labs are taking a similar assessment and have built their company around the premise of answering how to actually make that real and figure out a gap in the market that opens up that possibility. So what does Periodic Labs do? Simply put, their goal is to accelerate science. In their announcement post, they wrote, our goal is to create an AI scientist. Science works by conjecturing how the world might be, running experiments, and learning from the results. Intelligence is necessary but not sufficient. New knowledge is created when ideas are found to be consistent with reality. And so at Periodic, we are building AI scientists and the autonomous laboratories for them to operate. And really at core of what they think is missing is that while yes, current models have read everything that's available, ultimately to make new discoveries, you need practical application and experimentation. As they put it, as any scientist knows, though rereading a textbook may give new insights, they eventually need to try their idea to see if it holds. So basically what they want to do is connect the dots between human researchers, AI agent experiment designers, and autonomous and robotic labs where those experiments can be conducted. The way the Neuron framed it was this: human evaluators initiate, AI agent designs experiments, the robotic lab executes them, and nature itself provides a reward signal, did the experiment work, and from there data improves the models. Basically taking the scientific method and AIifying it. The company is starting with physical sciences, because they say physics is a verifiable environment. They note that AI has progressed fastest in domains with data and verifiable results. And this is what they mean when they say that nature is the reinforcement learning environment. Now, part of the strategy is to collaborate with industry right from the get-go. For example, they are already working with a semiconductor manufacturer on issues around heat dissipation on their chips. Now, as part of the coming out party this week, Periodic Labs announced that it had raised over $300 million in seed funding from a who's who of investors, including Andreessen Horowitz, Excel, NVIDIA, Jeff Bezos, and many, many more. One of their investors, Bain Capital Ventures, wrote the rare investment announcement post that uses historical analogy well. They begin with an exploration of the difference in science before the telescope and after the telescope. They write, the history of science is full of similar examples in which technological progress enables the invention of new scientific instruments, which in turn leads to new scientific discovery. Basically, that there is a relationship between the discoveries of science and the technology of science, that they are mutually reinforcing in a positive feedback cycle. The point is this: Galileo, they write, had the newly invented telescope. We have newly developed AI systems. What can we see now that we couldn't before? To the extent there was concern around the slopification of AI with Sora and before it, the Meta Vibes app, the periodic announcement saw almost the inverse excitement, with just an incredible amount of enthusiasm, not just from the AI industry, but from many different parts of academia, science, research, and beyond. Now, one of the other comparison points in that August article about turning down Zuckerberg's offers was all of the people who were leaving to work with former OpenAI CTO Mira Murati at her new startup Thinking Machines Labs. And while Thinking Machines isn't as aggressively self-styled as a place for physical scientific research as Periodic Labs, they are very self-consciously trying to take a different approach to spreading and expanding knowledge around AI as opposed to the other labs. And right as OpenAI was announcing Sora 2, we also got the first product release from them. The product is called Tinker, and it's an API for training and fine-tuning custom models. Essentially, it's an AI infrastructure as a service, and it's meant to reduce the barrier to entry for model training substantially. Thinking Machines Lab provides the GPU cluster and the software stack, leaving customers to focus on training data and model design. Murati posted, Tinker brings frontier tools to researchers, offering clean abstractions for writing experiments and training pipelines while handling distributed training complexity. It enables novel research, custom models, and solid baselines. In comments to Wired, she added, we believe Tinker will help empower researchers and developers to experiment with models and will make frontier capabilities much more accessible to all people. We're making what is otherwise a frontier capability accessible to all, and that is completely game-changing. There are a ton of smart people out there, and we need as many smart people as possible to do frontier AI research. Wrote Thinking Machines scientist John Schulman, Tinker provides an abstraction layer that is the right one for post-training R&D. It's the infrastructure I've always wanted. So the goal here is very much a democratization of frontier AI research. They're looking to help speed up innovation by enabling researchers or startups to test their ideas in days instead of weeks or months. They're trying to level the playing field, making it possible for smaller labs, universities, or even individuals to do meaningful AI work without billion-dollar budgets. They're looking for paths to make AI models more useful while keeping costs down. And certainly while there are powerful benefits from a broad research and democratization standpoint, there's also a ton to be excited about here for enterprises. In the first wave, right after ChatGPT, a lot of enterprises tried to train their own models, mostly to discover the bitter lesson that generalist models simply outperformed their limited amounts of data, even if it was data that was contextual to their firm. Bloomberg was one big example of this. However, there's still a lot of interest in custom trained layers for models that take advantage of proprietary and non-public data, and Tinker opens up some great possibilities on that front. Basically, if it works as promised, they will be able to fine-tune models on their corpus of data without big infrastructure and an extensive AI engineering team. What's more, it opens up the possibility that individual teams within an enterprise could actually think about this type of custom training rather than just having to wait for what the central AI group does. There's no reason, for example, that a marketing analytics team, especially if they add the right support, couldn't actually go explore that kind of customization, again, without having to get in line and wait for whatever other types of big AI infrastructure projects are going on across the company. Now, how much Thinking Machines is going to care about that enterprise use case remains to be seen, but it's certainly valuable. The first reactions are extremely positive. Technium, the co-founder of distributed training collective Nos Research, wrote, "I had the privilege of being part of the beta for Tinker. It's a really nice project. Simple APIs for training models can make it a lot easier to properly leverage resources to get results." UC Berkeley PhD student Tyler Griggs writes, "Very hackable and lifts a lot of the LLM training burden. A great fit for researchers who want to focus on algs and data, not infra." Former OpenAI co-founder and Vibe code terminology coiner Andre Karpathy writes, "Tinker is cool. If you're a researcher or developer, Tinker dramatically simplifies LLM post-training. You retain 90% of algorithmic creative control, while Tinker handles the hard parts that you usually want to touch much less often, meaning you can do these at well below 10% of typical complexity involved. Compared to the more common and existing paradigm of upload your data, we'll post-train your LLM, this is, in my opinion, a more clever place to slice up the complexity of post-training, both delegating the heavy lifting, but also keeping majority of the data and algorithmic creative control." GDP at Amazon actually drew the connection between Thinking Machines and Periodic Labs. They write, "Thinking Machines' vision, whole world as an AI-RL-powered lab. In that sense, it's similar to that of Periodic Labs, but possibly much more expansive. Periodic Labs will be the equivalent of Bell Lab of today's world, and they will conduct reinforcement learning on the basis of feedback on real-world feedback, e.g. experiments in material science. We need that, and I am rooting for their success. Thinking Machines aims to treat the whole world as an AI-RL-powered lab. Currently, AI training, and particularly RL, is out of reach of most engineers and organizations. It is considered achievable only for a handful of labs with big egos. Also, big labs cannot collect real-world feedback data beyond a point. The real world provides the best reinforcement learning rollout data. For example, the kind of feedback Cursor gets when users either accept or reject suggestions by Cursor tab model. Customer support conversations and action trajectories that leave users delighted or disappointed. Factory floor decision-making data with outcomes. With such diverse data not accessible to the big labs as it is not on the internet, the models can be made much more intelligent." There is actually an entire show that I have had half formed on the back burner about the whole world as a reinforcement learning lab and how much the labs are orienting towards that being the future of model development. But you kind of get a little bit of a taste of it here. And what's exciting is that even if it isn't making as much headlines, this AI-driven science is not just something for the future. It seems to be moving forward right now. Over the summer, there were multiple reports of frontier models doing novel mathematics, for example. OpenAI Chief Product Officer Kevin Weil was so enthused by what he saw from scientists working alongside GPT-5 that he's now incubating a division called OpenAI for Science. Earlier this week, an MIT student going by Asher posted, "If I had a nickel for every MIT professor who told me GPT-5 made a novel research discovery in the past week, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's strange that it happened twice." He elaborated that one of the breakthroughs was in biology and the other in math. Now, one can be skeptical of Twitter hype posting, but it does seem to be reflected in many people's experience. Sam Altman even reposted it saying, "Does feel like this is really starting to happen in tiny ways." Prin summed up, "Probably the most surprising development in AI for me over the past 6 months is that GPT-5 Pro and even GPT-5 Thinking can make very small novel scientific discoveries. As a reminder, these are models that think for under 40 minutes and are not nearly as advanced as OpenAI's unreleased multi-agentic models, which we know can work autonomously for hours. It's quite easy to see why OpenAI decided to launch the OpenAI for Science initiative now, presumably just a few weeks before the model that won gold on the IMO, IOI, and the ICPC becomes available to the public. Exciting times." Now look, I do think that OpenAI has a bit of a communication problem right now, where if Sam is sincere, when he basically implies that the revenue from social media style applications is a relevant part of their plan to get to AGI, they've got to connect those dots explicitly because otherwise people are just going to do it for them. If they articulate why ads matter, people can disagree, but at least they won't be speculating. But still, for those of you who are disappointed by the social media orientation of the AI labs, just know that there is a heck of a lot out there happening that is about insanely ambitious, world-changing scientific research, and it's not far off in the future. It's happening right now. I'll continue to try to cover as much of that as I can as it comes up. For now, though, that's going to do it for today's AI Daily Brief. Appreciate you listening or watching as always, and until next time, peace